Weber's not trying to do what she's doing or what she's talking about Buddhism doing, which is to analyze the notion of karma and the problem of evil as a philosophical problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's concerned with it as a kind of rational system, meaning an ordered system that helps us make sense of the world.
Yeah.
Because
Phails at philosophy.
Part of what's at the heart of his social theory, the heart of a social theory like Durkheim's, of these early 20th century social theories. I mean, we can talk as sociologists about whether we have to make sense of the world or not. But the heart of it is that, like, in order for us to have a social world that works, ultimately, so that we can order ourselves with each other,
Mm-hmm.
we have to subordinate ourselves to that order.
We've got to agree to laws. Laws work when everyone agrees
There
to
has to be some level of consent on a fundamental level to be governed.
You have to participate in authority.
Right. And the notion is, in order for populations to consent to be governed, it has to make sense to them.
Has to make sense.
Right. They have to have a sense that it's a just system.
Yeah.
And that karma and rebirth, he says, again, rightly or wrongly, provides the type of system that allows for that governance to happen, right? That allows, whether we see it as governance from outside or self-governance as a community, however we can understand governance, we have to consent to be governed for that common order.
And this is the ideology that makes sense to the masses.
Right. And so he's looking at it that way. So it's a useful way to open up. And I think she's right. Like, you know, there's a level at which that notion of karma that he gives in his work has become the Western notion of karma.
What is the Western notion of karma? Can you articulate it?
That karma and rebirth is about this large system of accounting for moral responsibility that resolves the idea that I am suffering unjustly by saying this is an accountability for some past wrong in a past life.
And it seems to let your current life's situations off the hook. Because you look out there, here's what I mean by that. I look out into the world and I see a lot of examples of folks succeeding while doing evil.
Mm-hmm.
And folks having evil while succeeding, like while doing good, right? So instead of saying, hey, we all need to be social justice warriors. I know that that's maybe a triggering term for a lot of people, but instead of saying, hey, let's fix this lifetime. Let's fix this shouldn't be happening. We need to stand up. We need to do things to change this environment. We say, oh, you know, that person did good 3 lifetimes ago, and now he's reaping the benefits of that. So let's just let this all go. Or I did bad 3 lifetimes ago. Let's let this all go. I don't like that.
Yeah, well, and I think that that's actually what she says Buddhism rejects, right? Is that fatalism, right? That notion that whatever we're confronting with is just a product of some moral system that just happens to us. That, like, yeah, like, it's not a problem. Like, the heart of our argument is it's not a problem for Buddhism because Buddhism is focused on a different kind of moral good.
I'm drawn to the part in the chapter where she tells that story of the king and his friend who's also a part of the bureaucracy, and he's a good person. And so people don't like him because he's a good person. He's a right person. He's a just person. And that people can't control him, so they don't like him.
Right.
So then they whisper in the ear of the king, and the king decides to kill him and all his 22 kids.
Right.
All his sons. And then the speaker, like the messenger, the person who gives news, goes and tells the wife who's sitting at a Sangha thing. She's
right.
doing a Dharma talk or something.
Right.
And they whisper or gives a note that says, like, hey, all your husband and all your kids and
grandkids and everybody
have been beheaded. And she quietly puts this note in her pocket.
Right.
And the next thing it talks about is only that which can be broken is breakable. Something like that.
Right.
I don't remember the exact quote. And that's what? Like, I
Yeah.
get that other thought. It seems the most important thing they're getting to through that thing is don't invest in anger. Don't invest in revenge and all of that, because that's what's going to bring you the worst outcomes. Is that what you took away from that?
I mean, it is one of those like puzzle stories, and I love when Buddhism starts going into storytelling, because it tends to take these stories that are like, they don't make sense, but you think about them and like maybe there's an itch there that gets at it. And so yeah, I think
What do you think about the broken part?
what I get out of that story and that notion of brokenness, and like only that can be broken, which is already, which
Let's try to find it. It's
Yeah.
something like that. It's we can talk about it while I look, though.
yeah, it's so there's two sides to that, right? Like one is, for Buddhism, what our author here really argues, and I think my kind of wide idiosyncratic reading of Buddhism aligns with this, right? Karma is not a way to solve the problem of evil. Karma is just the fact of cause and effect, right? There's just the fact that like when you do something, there are chains of causes and effect that come off of that produce consequences. You're caught in a web of consequences, and you are subject to those consequences, and those consequences come from you. Now, that is understood in Buddhism in this sort of classic framework of karma and rebirth, because that's the world it was born into. Right. That's kind of part of it. And so she mentions that there's contemporary Buddhist thinkers who try to rethink karma out of a classic karma and rebirth and understand it in a more contemporary metaphysics of causation, right? And the argument is that nothing is lost in terms of what's at the heart of the Dharma, right? That this is how people understood how the world works. It's a little early and not fully worked out, and we don't need to have this sort of metaphysical commitment to karma and rebirth, that there's something that like travels from life to life to embrace the teachings that are at the heart of Buddhism. That's kind of the argument there. And at the heart, it is this like karma is just a fact of life, right? Karma is a fact of life.
Cause and effect is a fact of
Right.
life. If you're using those as synonymous.
Right, exactly.
Oh, the quote is, "No notice should ever be taken on the breaking of anything that is capable of being broken."
Right. And so fundamentally, that is understood as the brokenness of the universe we live in, not some way to fix the problem of evil. Because there's no, and when she starts off, she says, like, look, the way we think about the problem of evil, is it a problem if you don't have a notion that there's a just moral order, that there is a God governing everything?
This gets to later on. Well, I'll finish the story a little bit, and then I'll take us back, because the king comes and says, like, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can send all the wives back to their families. It's all good. And she's like, okay, cool. I'm cool with this. And then the king goes to visit the Buddha to like figure out his moral binding of all of this. And then her brother, or like one of the guy who was killed's family member, says, nuh-uh, and takes over the government for another guy. And then he rushes back to the kingdom from this Buddhist conversation and dies of exhaustion on the way back.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened next? Like the guy who died of exhaustion, his people killed the people that usurped. And then they went and celebrated by a river. And the river had this flood that killed them all and washed them out to sea. And I don't, at the end of it, the only thing I took away from it is like this phrase here, where it says, he abused me, he struck me, he defended me, he robbed me. If any cherish this thought, their hatred never ceases. He abused me, he struck me, he defeated me, he robbed me. If any cherish not this thought, their hatred ceases. For not by hatred are hatred ever quenched here in this world, but by love rather are they quenched. This is an eternal law.
Yeah.
So basically saying, like, it's an exercise of reframing, like extreme reframing, of saying, like, I wasn't abused, I wasn't struck, I wasn't defeated, I wasn't robbed. Not because those things didn't occur, but because that narrative, that frame is toxic to the human spirit.
Exactly. Like, yeah, that's, I think, on a certain level, it's like, yeah, the world's unjust, get over it, and start working on enlightenment. Right? Like, that's why you need to get out of samsara.
Well, I think because...
And I think that's part of what, if there's a solution to the problem of evil in Buddhism, it's that the way we think about justice, the way we think about evil is all part of samsara. And so, of course, it doesn't work.
What samsara is suffering? Or
Well,
it is
the wheel of
buildup of...
Yeah, the wheel of rebirth that I'm caught in that subjects me to suffering, right? So,
Okay.
yeah. So if I'm going to get out of that, I got to stop worrying about whether you offended me or God loves me or any of that. I need to get into a space where I am laser focused on what do I need to do to be liberated.
In current culture, that maps for me to victim mindset. It's like, I'm a victim, and then taking that on as an identity.
Yeah, or and
because taking that on as an identity is to not move through it, and then to kind of
right. But it's not
life.
even just about your injustice. It's about the injustice in the world, right? You know, it's not just about you being troubled, that you have suffered.
That's why it's because to say that you're not victim blaming, to take on a victim position, like I'm a victim, but in a world where we're all
victims of the world.
Because from a Buddhist context, to be a human is to suffer,
right?
And to suffer is to be a victim. Is to kind of have some, to be a victim of something. Can suffering occur without some effect of some other person?
Well, I think that's the heart of it is, I think you're onto something.
I said victim blaming earlier, but I didn't mean that. I meant to take on a victim position.
Right. It's not, it's not blaming the victim. It's not.
It's like, I'm a victim, and then taking on being a victim as an ideology.
But I think it also includes, you're a victim and I'm going to worked up about that. That is just as much a problem for Buddhism as I'm a victim and I'm going to get worked up about it.
Yeah, but because we're all victims.
Right. It's seeing that particularity of our victimhood as something unique that needs addressed, instead of the more general condition of suffering.